The night had teeth, sharp and cold, and it bit into Marcus Hale the moment he stepped out of the bus with his daughter asleep against his chest. The streetlight flickered like it was tired of witnessing things it couldn't stop, and down a narrow sidewalk he saw it happen, a young woman pressed against a brick wall, her shadow swallowed by three men who closed in on her space like a trap snapping shut. Something ancient and feral woke up inside Marcus, the part of him that had survived loss, exhaustion, and fear, the part that refused to let another human being disappear while he still had breath in his lungs. Before the story pulls you all the way in, take a second right now and do something simple but powerful. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from, your city, your country, your corner of the world. It means more than you think. Marcus did not think of himself as brave. He thought of himself as tired. 36 years old, a widower for almost 3, and a single father to a 5-year-old girl named Lily, his life had become a careful balancing act between work, grief, and love. He worked long shifts as a warehouse supervisor, came home to empty silence where laughter used to live, and learned how to braid hair by watching videos late at night because Lily missed the way her mother used to do it. He carried guilt like an extra organ, guilt for surviving, guilt for moments of impatience, guilt for every time he felt like he was failing at being enough. But when he saw those men blocking that woman's path, none of that mattered. Instinct overrode doubt. The street smelled of rain and old oil, the kind of place where bad things could happen quietly and disappear by morning. Marcus adjusted Lily higher on his shoulder, her small fingers curled into his jacket, trusting him without question. He felt the weight of responsibility not just to his child but to the world she would grow up in. He moved forward, his steps deliberate, his presence suddenly very large in the narrow space. He didn't shout or posture, he simply inserted himself between the men and the woman, his body a wall where none had existed a moment before. His eyes were steady, the kind of steady that comes from someone who has already lost everything once and is no longer easily frightened. The men hesitated. That pause was everything. People like them thrived on fear, on the easy imbalance of numbers and vulnerability. Marcus did not give them that. He stood there with a sleeping child in his arms, a living reminder that there were witnesses, consequences, humanity. He forced them back with nothing but his presence, his refusal to move, his unspoken promise that this line would not be crossed. The men muttered and retreated, melting into the night like they had never been there at all. The woman slid down the wall, her knees giving out now that the danger had passed. Her name was Elena Brooks, though Marcus would only learn that later. She was 24, new to the city, juggling 2 part-time jobs and night classes, carrying her own private storms. That night, she had taken a shortcut she would regret for years, and the fear still shook her hands long after the threat was gone. Marcus stayed until she could breathe again, until the street felt less like a trap and more like a way home. He walked her to the corner where there were lights and people, then turned back the way he had come, the adrenaline draining out of him all at once. At home, Marcus laid Lily in bed and sat on the edge of the mattress longer than usual, watching her chest rise and fall. The image of Elena pressed against that wall replayed in his mind, blending with memories he tried not to touch. His wife, Sarah, had been kind in a quiet way, the sort of kindness that changed the temperature of a room. She had died suddenly from an undiagnosed heart condition, leaving Marcus with a life he had never imagined living alone. He wondered what Sarah would have thought of him that night, whether she would have been proud or simply expected nothing less. Days passed. Life returned to its routines. Work, school drop-offs, grocery lists, bills. Marcus told no one about the night because it felt like something private, something that didn't belong to him anymore. Elena, however, couldn't forget. Fear has a way of etching moments into the body, and gratitude does too. She found herself replaying the image of a man stepping forward with a child in his arms, choosing involvement over indifference. It challenged the story she had been telling herself about the city, about men, about safety. She wanted to say thank you, to close the loop on a night that still echoed in her chest. Weeks later, their paths crossed again by accident in a small community center that hosted a free weekend breakfast for families. Marcus brought Lily because pancakes made her smile, and Elena volunteered there on Saturdays to earn extra credit for her social work program. Recognition sparked slowly, then all at once. This time there was light, noise, the ordinary comfort of people moving around them. They did not speak much at first. Words felt heavy. But something gentle and curious began to form in the shared space between them. Elena learned about Lily's obsession with stars and dinosaurs, about Marcus's terrible attempts at baking that always ended in laughter anyway. Marcus learned about Elena's childhood in a foster system that taught her independence early, about her determination to build a life where she could help others feel safe. They were both careful, both scarred in different ways, both aware that connection could be both healing and dangerous. The challenge was learning how to let something new exist without asking it to fix everything that had come before. Life tested that fragile beginning. Marcus struggled with guilt whenever he felt himself enjoying Elena's company, as if happiness were a betrayal of Sarah's memory. Elena struggled with trust, with the fear that kindness was temporary and could be taken away without warning. There were misunderstandings, moments of withdrawal, days when it felt easier to retreat than to explain the tangled truths inside them. Through it all, Lily watched with the perceptive seriousness of a child who had known loss too young. She noticed how Elena listened, how she knelt to Lily's eye level, how she never tried to replace anyone, only to be present. The city, indifferent and relentless, continued to throw obstacles their way. Marcus faced a possible layoff when the warehouse announced restructuring. Elena juggled exams and night shifts that left her exhausted. Money was tight. Time was tighter. But there was also growth. Marcus learned that strength did not always look like standing in front of danger, sometimes it looked like asking for help, like admitting fear, like choosing vulnerability. Elena learned that safety could be built slowly, brick by brick, through consistency and care. One evening, months after that night on the street, a storm rolled in without warning. Rain hammered the windows as Marcus, Elena, and Lily sat together on the floor, building a puzzle by flashlight when the power went out. In the small circle of light, Marcus felt something settle inside him. Not closure, not forgetting, but acceptance. Love did not erase loss, it expanded the heart to hold more than one truth at the same time. Elena felt it too, the quiet realization that her life had shifted because one man refused to look away. The story did not end with a grand gesture or a perfect resolution. It ended with smaller, truer victories. Marcus kept his job after all, moving into a new role that paid a little better. Elena graduated and started working at a nonprofit that helped women navigate unsafe situations, her empathy sharpened by experience. Lily grew, learned, laughed, and carried within her the memory of a father who showed her what courage looked like without ever needing to explain it. Near the end of this story, if you felt something stir inside you, hope, sadness, gratitude, or the simple belief that people can still show up for each other, please take a moment to engage with this video. Like it, share it, and let the algorithm know that stories about humanity still matter. And just before we close, here's a special request. Please comment below and tell us one moment in your life when someone stepped in for you, or when you stepped in for someone else. Those moments deserve to be remembered. Years later, Marcus would sometimes walk that same street, now brighter with new lights and fresh paint, Lily's hand in his. He would not tell her the story yet. Some lessons are better shown than spoken. Elena would join them, her presence easy, earned. And the city, with all its shadows and sparks, would continue on, changed in small ways by ordinary people choosing to act. Because sometimes, all it takes to force back the darkness is one tired, loving, determined human being who refuses to turn away.